the growing stage is the setup
the
for
identity.
the scale.
The
Right, it's
identity of your brand.
That is. And it's the setup for your scale. And if people do that, no matter what they're doing, even if you're only doing $100,000 right now in annual sales,
Yes.
you still need to go through this process. Welcome back to the Trustedpreneur Podcast. So excited to be here. I'm joined, as always, with my beautiful wife and business partner, Madeline. Today, guys, we have a great topic. We hear it all the time. I want to scale and grow. But what most entrepreneurs and business people don't understand is those two words mean something totally different. And if you don't do them in the right order, you're setting yourself up for failure. Let's break it down.
Let's get to work on that.
Yeah, let's do that. So Madeline, we hear it all the time. I want to scale my business. And we're like, okay, well, let's find out where you're at. Mm-hmm. So they've launched their business. They're doing some revenue. They're feeling good. And they come in and they say, I want to scale. And we always say, well, whoa. Let's slow down just a second. Mm-hmm. Let's grow first.
Yes.
And what most people don't understand is in the process, when you're starting to grow, there are some things you need to build so that you are actually ready to scale.
Right.
When we launched our business, this was something because originally, their first business, it was just you. So we didn't really... In the launch phase, we didn't do this, but as we started to grow, we got better in understanding what we needed to do in order to take it to the even next level. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I remember you coming and saying, I've got to put together a set of procedures that everybody, as we bring them on, follows. Mm-hmm. It's like somebody mentioned to us the other day, you know what? I can go to any McDonald's, and because of the way they built their model, I know that burger is going to come out the same.
Yeah.
Right? And no matter what and who's behind the counter, it's coming out the same. So they've literally written everything down. And most people, when they're first starting, they don't think that's that important.
Yes, and it's so frustrating because the trending word out there right now is that do you want to scale? Hire me,
right? Kind
of thing, right? And in order for us to be able to walk, we must learn how to crawl. Those are the steps. Very simple, right? And so we need to understand and learn that everything has foundation, right? You can't build a house up in the air. You have to build a foundation, which is the things that you have to document, everything that you're doing in order for you to know what's working, right? And once you build that foundation, you're growing, you're making money, then you document everything. Now we can start the scaling process. Right. And yes, I am big in SOPs. That is a fundamental thing when you're growing, in order for you to, when you drop that piece of paper, somebody else should be able to pick it up and go with it. Right. You should never leave it up to fate. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Right. And I think that there is a big confusion out in the market right now with people saying, you need to scale. But what am I going to scale if I don't have anything that I'm not growing?
Right.
Right.
And I think that's a really key point, right? And so, you see, in fact, we're working with someone right now mm-hmm. that they have a really good, I'm going to say small business mm-hmm. with the potential to be a really good bigger business.
Right.
And what's funny about it is they want to change everything they're doing. They want to change their model instead of just duplicating it again. Right. And people need to understand that when you take that process
Mm-hmm.
to really grow, what you're doing is you're starting to duplicate you. You're starting to duplicate the people. You're starting to duplicate it in markets,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you may be simultaneously adding new products and services. That's not kind of what we're talking about. What we're talking about is, and I love the word you said, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
Because the foundation is what you built your business to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's everything. It's keeping loyal to your values. It's keeping loyal to your message. It's keeping
It's consistency.
it's consistency. Absolutely. And you look at
And
it.
consistency, unfortunately, is boring at first.
Yeah.
It really is. If you think, I get to do this over again. I don't like this part of the business. I don't like to do this. I get it. But you must know it.
Yes.
You must know it in order for you to teach it to somebody, right? I mean, if you can't teach it, how are you going to grow and scale?
Yes. Well, and it's interesting, right? So you look at, franchise models,
Mm-hmm.
right? And their whole concept is it's, you have a pre-built plan,
Yeah, the blueprint.
right? The challenge that I see in some franchise systems is kind of exactly what we're talking about. They built their process. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Are they bringing in franchisees that can be duplicated or have the skill sets to understand what the original locations actually did and do every day and not have to change it, right? And those procedures need to be really fine-tuned,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they need to be able to answer all the questions.
Check the
Because,
boxes, yeah.
to your point, that consistency, when you're growing, if you have inconsistency, you're delivering something inconsistent to your customer.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's where the brand gets damaged.
It's back to that burger situation, right? I mean, the McDonald example. If you have inconsistencies in your recipe of whatever it is, you're not going to bake or cook the same burger, right? Not that you would bake a burger, but the same thing as a cake, right? There is a process. Everything in life is a process, including ourselves, right? We are forever evolving, but we have a set of foundations which are called values, right? And so same thing with the work. With building anything, you must have that foundation and be able to be consistent enough that you can duplicate that in other markets. You can hire yourself again, right? Who are you as a person? Do you live and breathe, embody what you say you are? And are you watching and teaching your employees and building that culture that is going to create that momentum for you to duplicate next market, next thing? Then that's when we can talk about scaling. But we must perfect with precision our foundation.
Right. So let's take, we talk about BNN a lot because we expanded it really quick, right? And we did a really good job of getting to that first big number, right? The $1 million, right? And that was
quickly.
It was in some ways, as we jokingly say, could it have been too quick, right? Because we didn't have, but if we would have said, wow, we need to change our business, right? Then everything that we worked at really well wouldn't have worked, right? And so I think about that and thinking about.
Do you remember the time that I got so upset about writing that IRS check?
Yeah, I do.
Because we grew up so fast that we had to pay all this money. And I'm thinking, but I worked out for that money. I did not want to let go of that money. That was just like, wow, I get to work this hard and I give it to the IRS. That's just not fair. I never forget that.
Yeah. And interesting pivot in that conversation.
I know. It's just that it reminds me of how quick we grew.
Yes. No, I know. I get you. But my point where I was going with that is that because if we knew what we know now,
Mm-hmm.
we would have spent the time when it was that little office.
Yeah.
You and Keith were in it, right?
Yeah.
And we would have slowed everything down and wrote everything out. It's harder to do
When you grow, when you're big,
when you're already
yeah,
busy.
uh-huh.
So take the step back, really understand what you need to document. And, like in our business, each state, each client. So when we started building this, our procedures out, we had to build it out very fine-tuned to markets, to client-specific needs. And what people don't understand, that was our secret sauce, is because when we brought somebody on, like you said, we had the scripts, we had, this is what has to happen. I remember we did all this before there was a snippet. We did whatever you did to take a picture and embed it into a document, right?
I know.
Things are so much easier to do now.
Yeah.
But we actually walked them through it. And interestingly enough, it's always being updated.
Always.
So we're moving to a different system to do one part of our business. And Amber is building out that process, and she's documenting it because we're bringing somebody else that's going to be working in it, so they know exactly how to send that communication, what the flow has to happen. Because to your point of baking a cake, if you throw the ingredients in the wrong
order,
sequence, it comes out bad.
I know.
I never really understood why, but
me either.
It's all the same stuff.
But it makes sense.
But it does. And so that's what they think, I wrote down what they have to do. No, you have to write it down in a way that it is step by step by step, because when you decide to scale, that means you're either you're probably looking at potentially growing into another market, which might mean you're looking at acquiring someone, or you're going to be promoting someone, right? You have to be able to make sure it's exactly what you want. And I love that you said about the culture. And I think people don't document culture, but there are things that we can do to create culture that they understand. This is how we handle things when it's an employee, when it's a client, right? What do we do if there's a problem? What's our process of solving? And I always tell businesses, when you're getting ready to go to the next level, it's better to solve that problem right away, even if it's painful.
Yeah.
Because now you have processes in place to address every situation, but your people will feel better. Your clients will feel better because they know you have a process.
Right.
And if you deviate from your process, now you're causing chaos.
Yes.
Which
gets spicy.
It can.
It gets
right.
spicy.
And and I remember we had this with one of our employees. Well, yeah, I just did this. And I'm like, no, we have to go back.
Yeah, we don't get to skip
we
the
don't
process.
get to skip process.
Yeah.
Even though the outcome could be potentially the same, the experience isn't the same.
Right.
And again, you have to zone in on your experience that your customer and client is having, what your people are having internally, because if they are having it and it's consistent, you grow a business like we did where we never had to market it.
Right.
Our marketing was what we delivered.
Right.
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 And so people
saves you money.
In the long run, it does. And because you're consistent, I remember, and no business is perfect, and our business isn't perfect.
We were dealing with human beings that are representing your brand.
Right.
That's why the culture is important, because they too have to be like our field employees, the field contractors. They, not to interrupt you, which I did anyways, but it's one of those things that even our contractors out in the field, they must duplicate or mirror our culture in the office in order for us to be on brand, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not just one component. That's what we can get to give a free pass to somebody just because, no, you have to do it the way we tell you, because that's the proven methodology that has gotten us where we're at today.
Right. And actually that interruption was perfect because it really goes with what I was going to say is when you're that consistent
Mm-hmm.
and there is an issue or something doesn't go exactly as you want.
Mm-hmm.
I love when our clients come back and say, I know that's just a one-off because that's not how it happens
Right.
normally. And when you're 99+% on point,
Mm-hmm.
there's forgiveness on the other side.
Absolutely.
And that's why we promote, that type of, performance ratios with our clients. That's why, like I said, we don't really social media market. We have word of mouth marketing. Our clients refer us to clients.
Yes.
Our people refer us to other people, right? So
it's referral based.
It's the best way. It's the most economical way to market a business, but you have to build it right. So when that's all part of the growing stage,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the growing stage is the setup,
The
for
identity,
the
the
right,
identity of your brand.
That is, and it's the setup for your scale. And if people do that, no matter what they're doing, even if you're only doing $100,000 right now in annual sales,
yes,
you still need to go through this process.
Even if you're doing 25,000, you still have to go through this process. It does not matter how much money you're making right now. You still need to have these components in place in order for you to scale. And that's the key here, understanding that in order for you to scale, you must perfect what you already have, the growth process.
Right.
And so we need to separate the two. And people need to understand that when they hear word scale, they must ask other types of questions to that individual. Tell me what that looks like for you.
Right.
Because everybody has a different definition of what that means. And not to brag on this, but I'm going to anyways. This part of understanding BNN and how we did it, and now what is allowing us to do once more is scale, and scale with technology. Right. And so now we're going to take this company that we literally started from zero to eventually $100 million because we have perfected the pieces in place. And it's taking us several years. I mean, we are on our 17th year.
Yes.
Right. And so, most companies at this stage in their performance, they are dying companies. Right. Because they're not innovating, and not the contrary with us. We see where the market is going. So we have been able to come up with a solution where we can be part of the disruptive piece of that market, which I am super excited to eventually talk about it. Not just yet, but I know that I see us on the other side, right? Of that from a mindset standpoint. So I'm really excited about that. But my point with that delivery is that do yourself a favor. Do take the steps and take the moment to document everything in your journey, not the hard moments of it so you can talk on social media. No, it is the pieces that nobody sees, the bloodbath underneath that business that nobody sees, because all you're portraying is, oh, I got this, oh, I did this. And no. Do the work.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that what people also need to recognize within the process of the grow to scale is we're not saying that you have to do it all by yourself, right? In fact, actually, if you're going to grow, you need to now start identifying things that you shouldn't be working on, so it affords you the opportunity to work on the things that are really important to get you to grow, right? So, you need to be looking at, do I need this skill set to come in? Do I need this skill set to come in to do other things for me that help me go in the world that I want to be in?
Yeah.
And, you talked about, 17 years, and most businesses don't make it past 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and we talked about this on a previous episode about convenience and technology being 2 of the 3 key pillars
to be disruptive.
dominant and to be disruptive, right? And price is the other. So what we have constantly done in our grow to scale was, even back in, when COVID hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We moved towards technology. We didn't run from it.
Right.
And we found a solution to deliver our product and our service to people that at the time, because of COVID, were a little bit hesitant to do it, right? So it gave them a safe place. It was the efficient way of doing it. So part of the growth stage is looking for, how do I deliver the product more effectively, more efficiently, and how do I leverage that technology to grow it, right? Because when you're getting to scale, you're looking at a couple of things, right? If you're going into another market, right, you may be looking at acquiring someone. Simultaneously, if you're looking at acquiring somebody, you're a perfect candidate to be acquired.
Right.
And so now scale means something different other than just growing to another level. Because if I can get a 10, 12, 15x, well, that's scaling to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I'm just getting it all up front. And so to me, people have to understand, if you don't grow first, right? To your point, you have to crawl, then you learn to walk, and then you learn to run.
Right.
Right? So launch, grow, scale.
Yeah. Launch, grow, scale. That makes sense. And ultimately, if your goal is to exit the business, let me tell you, you're going to have some SOPs, SOPs in place.
Of course.
Because they're going to want to know how you got it done, and how then they have the capital to duplicate you.
Right.
Right. And so that's very important to understand. You always have to document your journey. Again, not how you got there, is how you grew it. Because just like franchises need to be able to validate that it is a proven concept in order for you to franchise. And I don't know now, but I think you needed like 5 stores before, or corporate stores.
Yeah.
Or has that changed now?
You don't really need to. It's just tougher to get it done, right? Because you don't have places for people to come in. But normally you need at least no less than 3.
3 at least that are proven concepts that people can say, well, yeah, they're corporate offices, but you still can show,
right?
And it validates the concept, and I think that's important to understand. If you want to exit your business, you must have your SOPs in place.
Right.
There's no option.
Totally.
And everybody gets in business to want to be bought at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly one of the 3 exit strategies, which is a whole nother episode that we can talk about.
Yeah, and a juicy one at that.
so awesome. Well, I think this was a fun conversation, and I think our whole goal here, guys, was to kind of put the order on how you grow, how you build your business. Like we said, it's launch, it's grow, it's scale. And the most important thing is, when you move from launching to growing, is document everything, duplicate what works, expand in areas, of course, but you're not reinventing your business. You already have a successful business. You're refining it constantly. That stuff is true. But when you want to go and hire somebody, if you don't have documented processes and procedures, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yep.
So once again, thank you for joining us. We hope you found a nugget in this. And if you did find a nugget that you enjoyed in this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It means the world to us. And it also is the best way that we can help other entrepreneurs and CEOs just like you grow and scale.
And let's get to work.
See you next time.